Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Operation White Noise reveal panel. I am Justin Kruger, your community developer on Rainbow Six Siege, and I am joined by two amazing gentlemen to my left. Level designer Madi. How's it going, Madi?
I feel so good right now. So honored, so blessed to be here. It's been a dream, man.
Yeah, it's so amazing being here in front of this insane.
It's been crazy, man. I can't believe it.
So cool.
Yeah.
And standing to his left, returning for a fourth time. This is four times for you.
Maybe five. I've lost count.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been many. But a man that clearly needs no introduction, game designer Simon LaForge. How's it going, Simon?
Oh, it's going amazing, man. The crowd here is absolutely nuts. I'm having a great time.
What did you guys think of the last semifinals?
I mean, like, we get pretty much the best result possible. We get like a Brazilian team against ENCE, and Penta's not in the finals, which isn't a big deal, but it's great that we get such a great final.
Such an amazing grand finals coming up just after this, but of course, right now, we're all about Operation White Noise. These guys are going to be running through the maps and the operators and revealing all that will be revealed in due time about Operation White Noise. I'm so excited to bring you all this content, and without further ado, let's hop in right to the map that is coming with Operation White Noise. So, with Operation White Noise, we are proud to present to you today the new map, Tower. The action takes place at a high altitude over this major city of South Korea. From the get-go, this map offers players a unique exterior rappel on the facade of the building, while inside the walls, the Rainbow Six team has found a layer of fraudulent organization that owns the tower. A small luxury office in the tower was found to hide the core of an evil financial structure with some of the richest fortunes around the world placing money under that investment company. When they found Team Rainbow had infiltrated the tower, all chaos broke out. Thematically speaking, most of the rooms in the tower are public spaces, entertainment areas, museums, restaurants, and bars and lounges. As one of our writers described it, you're going to feel fairly safe in this environment that is actually filled with action-packed destruction. But of course, all the rooms inside the tower are not as charming as they used to. You'll see a lot of destruction, and gameplay-wise, this map offers a mix, intense, of close and long-range fights with many angles and catwalks that players must be extra careful at all times. Without further ado, let's dive right into the new map, Tower. Madi,
Yeah.
run us through all the beautiful things about the tower. Run us through the basics.
Yeah.
This is really cool. One of our most exciting maps,
It is a
right?
really special map. Starting off, Tower is a massive 3-floor building, and we jumped, like you said, a really good amount of long-range, close-range combat. But what's most special about the map, what we never did before, is that there is absolutely no exterior gameplay. Almost exclusively, all of the action takes place inside of the tower.
That's really interesting. So there's no exterior spawn points for the attackers except for this rooftop, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
but there's nothing that the defenders can actually go out into, and they won't get detected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they'll never get detected inside, and the only exterior you'll find is the attacker spawning on the roof, either on the north side or the south side. And from there, they have to make a decision on how they want to approach the objective.
And this decision is really important, and it's broken down into two pathways that they can take, right?
Absolutely.
Why don't you break us down those pathways?
Yeah, we have the elevator route as a first pathway. This is really intense because this is going to take you straight into the heart of the tower. And you can also get down, take the catwalk, but if you decide to rappel down to the elevator, you have to be really careful because it's going to be contested. And you'll have to drone in, you have to communicate with your team, and this is what you'll need if you really want to have like a really straight to the point objective.
Obviously, that center pathway is going to cause a lot of conflict.
Yeah, it's a key point.
And I saw there's a few hatches too, a few catwalks, a few playtests that I was in. You know, you could really utilize those catwalks to really your advantage, which is really fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So, what is the other pathway that attackers can take to get into the building?
Yeah. So the other pathway, this one is also really special because I know this is something that players wanted for a long time. So you can actually rappel on the facade of the building, and you can see the amazing amazing, amazing art the team made, and you really feel like you're in there. And so what it means in gameplay terms is that using the exterior rappel will let you have a safer approach into the objective. So you will have more breathing air, so you have more breathing space, to get into the objective.
Really interesting. So basically 2 pathways for the attackers to take to infiltrate this building, and obviously in the defenders they have many decisions to make as well. So let's take a look at the tactical maps breaking down, starting with the second floor, where that holds the museum and office. So break us down what's on the second floor.
So this floor is divided by a center hallway where you'll find the elevator at the end. And it's really, really made of big rooms, big hallways, and in contrast to the first floor, darker neon colors.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the first floor too, that houses the restaurant. And
yeah, the first floor, in contrast, it's more tighter, all the hallway. We made it to design it so we lead you towards the center. And in contrast, there's it's mostly geared toward close range combat, yeah.
Yeah, and there's also that center corridor where the elevator spawn actually drops you off at, and it provides a really big point of conflict there. So let's break down these sections piece by piece and take a look at what this beautiful map actually holds. It's so beautiful. One of the most beautiful maps your team has put together. It's really incredible.
It's really good. I'm so proud.
So with that said, let's start with the south side of the second floor, the office.
So the office, as you said in your intro, this is where it all started. The conflict where Rainbow had to come in to help the hostages because they went there and they started taking hostages, so Rainbow had to come and defuse the situation. The office is something you can use as a buffer to get into the museum because you can access it from the rappel. And this is what you'll have a lot of defenders checking the angles, holding the angles there, making sure the attacker doesn't go through there if they decide to.
Right, this is a really key positional aspect for the attackers to push through into the map, and as a defender, you really want to try and cut them off. Maybe move towards that, have a roamer around there. That would be one strategy that you could potentially take.
One of many. Yeah.
One of many. Yeah. All right, so keeping on the second floor, let's take a look at the center, which is the museum section.
Yes, the museum is very, very interesting because we have really dark lighting, but we also decided to make it so a lot of the rooms have these neon colors, and we also place them in a way that you can make these quick call-outs during game. So let's say you have like a part where it's purple, where it's red, where it's pink. During fights where you don't really have time to give a proper position, you'll use that as an alternative.
That kind of visual intelligence is really key. And I was speaking with one of our writers, Farah, before coming on this trip, and she was saying that you can actually hear some history of Seoul, Korea, South Korea, from the museum. There's actually some historical content on the walls, and actually some voiceover that you might be able to listen to.
We add. We love adding these kind of details. I think it adds more to the immersion, and you feel like you're really there.
Yeah, and so playing off that feeling safe and welcome as a tourist in this area, but also very dangerous as, you know, obviously there's going to be attackers and defenders roaming through that area.
Yeah.
Great, so with that, that concludes a look at our second floor. Now let's take a look at our first floor, where the restaurant pretty much takes up the entire area, right?
Yes, the restaurant is, in contrast to the museum, there's more natural light color. There's more light in general, so it's easy.
And in general, it's more thematic. It's this beautiful architecture that you guys have, and a lot of this conflict really centers around this central corridor, right?
Yeah, this corridor. Every single game, something's going to happen there.
Yeah.
Whether you want it or not, something's going to happen.
Yeah, because there's that elevator drop down right there. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of hatches right around you.
Yeah,
a lot of key objective points right in that area. Really interesting. Now, when working on designing a map, where do you guys start in figuring this out?
That's a really good question. So usually we start with either a strong thematic that we want to explore, or we go with gameplay intention. Usually what we do is we do our research, we look for references, we look for something that's going to be solid enough so we can base it upon, because Rainbow, you know, we want to keep it authentic and realistic.
Cool.
Second, when we decided on that, we start doing like architect and building the map in 2D and figuring out like the flow, the layout, how is it going to be. And when we're satisfied with that, we jump into what we call 3D. So we start building the map in the editor, and we do several iterations, and if we like it, we keep it. If not, we start again.
So you start from there, you prototype it, tweak it to finding that right recipe of creating conflict in a certain area, or creating a nice flow for attackers and defenders to move through this space. With that said, that brings us to the most interesting section of this map, the atrium. Break us down the atrium, which spans across the second and first floor.
The atrium is really something we haven't done before, because we had the challenge of making a map with no exterior gameplay. So we had to come up with something, a recipe that would allow us to do that. So the atrium is pretty much our answer. And to do that, we have what you'll find in exterior. So we have long line of sight, vertical line of sights, and quick access from first to second floor. This is really a roaming field. You'll get there. Any good roamer will love to just stay there and try to pick off the attackers one by one.
Really fascinating area, because you're going to have that transitional space, but for the roamers, you're going to be able to have some really interesting gameplay as a defender in that space. As we mentioned before, there is no outside for defenders.
Yeah, no outside.
They can't. They're not going to get detected in this area if they want to try and breach out of it. So, with that said, let's take a look at some of the gameplay footage as we sort of talk about this map a little bit further.
Sure.
Simon, in your gameplay playthroughs, what did you think of this map?
It's really an amazing map. Honestly, having no exterior, I thought at first, I was scared. I thought it would have been dangerous, but honestly, it plays really well. It's really well balanced, because there's the catwalk in the atrium, and that's the key point. That's really a key point for the attackers to get in. But they have a lot of options actually to get in, either do a rush in the central elevator, or just go for the atrium or the offices. Honestly, it's a great map. It plays super well, and I'm super stoked to see pro players, pro teams getting at it. And
speaking of some of our pro players, we invited a few of them into the studio in Montreal, and they got firsthand look at this new map, and they just had great things to say about it. They said it's a potentially competitive map, so we may be seeing this in the future, in future Pro League seasons. Which
That'd be really exciting.
Yeah, really exciting for you. For yourself, what is it like working on a map and then releasing it to the public? How do you feel about when you actually create a map and it's actually in the hands of players?
First, it's a bit scary, because we don't know what they're going to do, because we try to do different things. Every time we try to switch it up, make it different, and we don't know, we're not sure how the people are going to receive it, but most of the time we're really just happy to release it, and people enjoy it.
Yeah, and that feedback process is really key, because we listen to the community every single day, every single moment on the subreddit, on Twitter, on social media, everywhere, and we hear their feedback, and we're integrating it. One of the key points behind what we mentioned in the Year 3 sneak peek panel, which was really about redoing these maps, which is really key. But obviously, Tower is going to be one of the most interesting and key maps that we're releasing, and one of the most beautiful. It's strikingly beautiful as we look at these.
Absolutely, I love that we're taking a risk with our maps, trying stuff we've never tried before and actually making it work. We already have a lot of maps that work competitively, so we're taking a couple of risks, and I think it struck a really good balance in that one with the brand new elements, so I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely, and here you can see all the different aspects of this map, which really come together, bring together your immersion, and you're just placed in this world and placed in this map that feels real and feels like it's in an actual environment, which is really cool. So that is a look at the Operation White Noise map Tower, coming to you guys for free with Operation White Noise, which is really exciting. I cannot wait for players to get their hands on this. Without further ado, so that's that look at the map. Let's take a look at the operators, and that's where I'm bringing in my man Simon. Obviously, with Season 3, we are releasing 3 new operators. The first one, Sophia, comes from the Polish Grom operation, followed by the South Korean operators Dokkaebi and Vigil.